Hey. What it do, everybody? I want to send a special shout out to all of y'all. Everybody. All my listeners, um, far, near, wherever you may be, whoever you are. I appreciate you and I thank you. It's another episode of Getting Together with Big Maul. We here again live, baby, feeling good, living good, God is good. So it's all good. And I pray that all is well with you. And if not, we got to get that right. We got to get that squared away and get it together. Okay? No pun intended. Well, maybe all pun intended. But hope y'all been doing well for real though. Hope y'all been doing well. We're getting closer and closer to the end of summer. It's almost there. It's almost that time before we change seasons. So hope y'all been making the adjustments. It's gonna get cooler. It's gonna get darker sooner, and we gonna make it through. These times are challenging times for me because, like I said before, and I say it again, summer is my favorite season. I just love summer. The vibes, the just be the weather, everything to me, in my opinion, is just better in the summer. But we gonna thrive. I'm taking a different approach. Every year I get like down in the dumps when it comes to the seasons changing, when it gets colder, and I get a little, I feel the way. I get a little attitude-ish because I don't like the cold at all. But this year we gonna change that approach. We gonna welcome it with all our abilities because I mean, if even if we are upset, even if we don't like things changing, some things we cannot control. We cannot control this weather unless we move to a different location, okay? But other than that, we can't control the weather. So we gotta welcome it. We gotta embrace it. We gotta thrive in it. So we gonna thrive in this season that's coming up, and in the winter, and we gonna thrive in spring. We gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? So, but other than that, yeah, I've been doing good. I've been chilling. So um, I did something. I did something that awoke in my inner child, which was going to my mom's house and getting my old Xbox 360 because it's like some of these new video games, they just not hitting. They're not hitting the same way that they used to hit as a child. And I know half of that reason is because I am not a child anymore, you know. And the other half reason for that, for me saying that, is because it's true. I know it's true. Some of these video games just aren't the same anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things like on basketball games and football games, sports games. There's a ton of microtransactions, and they're costly. And then you got glitches, and then you got all these different updates that you got to install in order to continue to play the game, and you need space for that. Back in the day, we didn't need updates on our games. There were no updates. Okay, you would have you a memory card, and you will save your stuff on that memory card. All your game data would be saved on that memory card, and you were good. You didn't have to worry about not having space to play the game. The only thing you had to worry about was having space in order to save your progress. You know what I'm saying? That's what we stressed about as a kid growing up. And this generation, they don't know. This younger generation, they don't know the struggle of having to buy memory cards. Or if you couldn't afford the memory cards, keeping the game on. And that was a struggle because some parents some parents, they didn't want that. They didn't want you leaving that game on. It might blow up. It might mess something up. So, and I would leave my game on before I had a memory card, my PlayStation 2, and I would go to school and I would come home and it would be turned off. My grandma, God rest her soul, would go in that room and turn that game off when I was at school. And I kept doing it, and I don't know why, because I knew she was gonna turn it off, so I don't know why I kept doing it. Then eventually I got a memory card, and I got another memory card, so I had two, and I had plenty of space because the games didn't take up that much space. The save progression didn't take up that much space. Nowadays, you got these games, You have to install the game, and you have to have space for the game to be installed. And then you have to have space for the update to take place when they have their updates. Some updates are once a month. Some updates are, as far as like sports games, they may have glitches and patches that need to be done. So you may be having to do that every week, depending on what type of game it is. And that is very, 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 very frustrating. And that takes the fun out of the game because you can only have so many games on your system nowadays. And if you want to do something, you may have to delete a game, unless you buy an external hard drive, but you may have to delete the game in order to fit space for this other game. But then you got to decide which game you want to delete. And it's just super duper annoying to me. So, like I said, I woke up that inner child in me and got my Xbox 360. And dirty, raggedy, clanking, it worked. Turned on. The disc tray is a little messed up. You know what I'm saying? And it won't read the disc properly. So I had to open it and close it, open it and close it, open it and close it. And the game got stuck. But before all that happened, I was able to play a little bit of an old game, NBA 2K7. And it brought back so many memories of me being, I think, 13 years old when that game came out in the 8th grade. And I spent so much time playing that game, just enjoying playing the game. I didn't worry about being online. I didn't worry about having to buy things for my players. All I had to do was pop the game in and play and have fun. And that was the time of my life. I went from this 31-year-old man to a 13-year-old teenager again. And that was amazing, man. That was such a great feeling to go back and to be in that nostalgic moment. And I was smiling. I was cheesing. And it felt good. And my wife walked in and she saw it and she smiled. And I felt good. It felt good, man. And I remember those days, and I have such fond memories of those days, those old video games, and playing with cousins and playing with people, or just being by myself, like I said, and just playing the video game by myself and enjoying my solitude, just me and a video game, and all the classic teams and all the older players that are retired. 2K7 came out in 2006, and of all those players on that game, there are only two players, I believe. Yeah, there are only two players that are still in the league from that game: Chris Paul and LeBron James. That's crazy. And I think Al Horford. I think Al Horford was around when that game came out, but I can't remember. But I know for sure Chris Paul and LeBron James from 2006 are still in the league playing. That's amazing. That's amazing. But I just remember all of those older players that a lot of people don't even know about, and I remember playing with them and knowing how to do their moves and just utilize them, and it was such a great experience, man. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a newer, well, I guess not newer. Well, it'd be newer to my system. I'll buy another Xbox 360 that's in way better condition than my old one from 2007, 2008. Um, I will buy a new system, and I will be able to play all of my old games, and I will be happy, and I will be content as a little kid would be. The little kid inside me, that is. And what I'm trying to get at is we need to do more of the things that make the little kid inside of us happy. Now, I don't know what that may look like for you. That may look like something as simple as getting a coloring book and coloring. To me, I'm not judging nobody. Ain't nothing wrong with coloring. That coloring can be a perfect de-stressor. Okay, I've known people to color to help them deal with stress and deal with anxiety, helping them cope and calming them down. That is completely common. That is normal. You can some people do puzzles, some people do word searches, uh, some people they build Legos. What is it that awakens that inner child? It could be riding a bike. You know what I'm saying? And not just for cardio and the exercising aspect of it. It could be just to be outside and to just remember the days of you riding the bikes with your siblings or your family members, your cousins, your friends, and racing and just exploring, being very exploratory and just being able to be mobile. Because before we knew how it felt to drive a vehicle, we rode bikes, and that was our transportation. And the freedom of just riding a bike, being able to dictate how fast you go and what direction that you go, was the pinnacle of our childhood. And then we ended up getting older and we got bigger bikes, or we got skateboards, or we got scooters, and then we got vehicles eventually. But that was our childhood, riding bikes, going outside. And you had a bike, your sibling had a bike, your cousin had a bike, your friend had a bike, and it was cool because your bike might have had things that the other person's didn't, and vice versa. Or if someone didn't have a bike, so you may have had handlebars, you rode on the handlebars, or someone else rode on your handlebars, or if you had the pegs on the bike and someone stood up. It was a time to be alive, and I feel I'm grateful for the kids that love their bikes and ride their bikes. My daughter rides her bike; she likes her bike, and um, that can be something that awakens your inner child. It could be going on a trampoline. It could be going to an arcade. It could, and playing those classic games. Excuse me, going to the arcade, playing those classic games, and remembering how it used to feel as a kid going to the arcade. Some of these games you just didn't have on a system, and the only way that you could play those video games were to go to the arcade and play the game. And for as long as you would be there, and however much money that you would spend, however much money that you had, you would cherish those moments, and you would try to go up all of these different levels and make a new record, or just get a record high enough to be on the leaderboard. And that's fun. You can go to the park and play basketball or tennis, or you can draw, you can write, you can paint. What is it that awakens your inner child? I want y'all to think about that. Like, really think about what is it that awakens your inner child, and do that. Really think back about what you did as a child that brought you so much joy, and in your complete innocence, what was it? And do that unapologetically. Don't think about someone judging you. Don't think that you look embarrassing or stupid or silly, because you don't. Just think about that and do that. Because I promise you, it it is a rewarding experience, and it will just bring that joy back inside of you. Even if you aren't missing, joy, even if you're like, you're fine, you're in a season where you're good. But at the same time, it's going to awaken something in you that you forgot how it felt. I promise you. You'll forget. We've grown. We're adults. We've experienced so much life since we were kids, and we've been through so much. We've been hurt. We've been let down. We've been heartbroken. We've lost people. We've gained people, then lost them, and then there's so much that has happened through our journey, through our experience this far, and we don't remember that innocence. We can visually remember going to our favorite store and getting our favorite candy with our grandparents. We can remember those very, very fond moments. Some of them very faint. You can remember little bits and pieces of them. You can remember going to parties and things of that nature, and having cake and ice cream and singing the happy birthday song. We can remember those things. But sometimes we can't summon that feeling, that emotion. And so it's powerful that we can do that and we can recreate that emotionally, and we can go back to that moment emotionally. And it's a great feeling. It's an amazing, thrilling feeling. So, like I said, I don't know what it is that you do to awaken that inner child, but I encourage you to do it. I want you to do it. And I want you to let me know how it went for you. I want you to let me know how it went for you. And like I said, I don't care how embarrassing it may sound. I don't. I just want to know. I want to know. Play hide and go seek as an adult. As silly as that could sound. You know, if you have an old Nintendo 64 with some classic games, plug it in and play it if it still works. Call a friend over. Make it competitive. Have fun. If you can run, if you're in enough shape, that's no shade, but literally, if you're in enough shape to like run, race one of your friends, race your brother, race your sister, race. Race. You don't have to go far, just race. See if you still got it. Get into a friendly conversation, friendly competition. Remember back in the day how I used to dust you? I bet I can still dust you now. Oh, well, let's get to it then. Okay, let me go put on my shoes. Let me stretch for a minute. Let me stretch. And let me see. Let me see. I bet I can get you now. Like, sing a song. Man. Ah, man. Awaken that inner child, y'all. You got to do it. The world is serious enough. There's enough going on with wars and elections and COVID and sicknesses, and there's so much negativity that's going on in the world right now and has been for so long, especially in our adulthood. I'm 31, so especially in my adulthood, but there's so much that goes on in our day to day. We gotta have fun. We gotta have fun with it. We gotta get our minds and take our minds away from all of the things that's going on around us that are draining us. We gotta work, we gotta eat, we gotta survive. Cool, we get it. But we gotta remember, we gotta have fun and loosen up some. It's only right, and we owe it to ourselves. Do it, dance, laugh, have fun. Awaken that inner child. I'm gonna continue to do that, and I'm gonna get my a PlayStation 2, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna get a PlayStation 2. I have tons of old video games from my PlayStation 2, still at my mom's house, and I'm gonna get a PlayStation 2, and then I'm gonna get all those old games. I'm gonna see which ones work, which ones don't, of course, and then guess what? I'm gonna play them, and I'm gonna be even happier because that's going back to me being 8, 9 years old. Some of those games are PlayStation games from me being 4 or 5 years old that I can barely remember. But guess what? I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be joyful, and I'm gonna be so in my element. I don't care who may think that it looks lame or corny because I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game or an Xbox 360 game in the year 2024 as a 31-year-old husband and father. I don't care. I don't. I love the PS5. I love some of the games, but guess what? Ain't nothing like the old school, like my mama said. Old school is the best school. In our childhoods, we just can't get those times back, but we can get those feelings back with what we do, by what we do and how we do it. So I encourage you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, y'all just stay blessed, stay prayed up, stay connected to God, and tap in with me. Follow me everywhere at Jamal Butler. I appreciate y'all and I love y'all so much. And we're gonna holler back next week with another episode. And but until then, keep the peace, stay unbothered, choose joy, keep God first. I'ma holler at y'all. Peace.